Hi everybody, Puffin here again. I just finished a video about heaven and I realized something I forgot to mention. Most of our conceptions of heaven come from the Christian tradition, or the word heaven seems to come from the Christian tradition or be kept alive in the Christian tradition and by the sayings of Jesus. And Jesus told everybody that the kingdom of heaven is within, the kingdom of heaven is at hand, the kingdom of heaven is here. People don't act like that. My last video was about how people don't even act like they're going to go to heaven after they die. But they certainly don't act like the kingdom of heaven is here and at hand. But if you consider what it would be like if people really thought they were going to go to heaven for eternity after they die, the idea I mentioned in my last video is that they would spend an eternity thinking back on one life. And that could be a very harsh judgment that you yourself in the future put on your current self throughout eternity. As you stay the same self, but you don't have a body to change things or correct mistakes that you made. That you can spend an eternity in regret or thinking, dwelling on things. And how hard is it while you're alive when you dwell on things? But the further extension of this idea is that if the kingdom of heaven is within, it's like saying the kingdom of heaven is the mind. The mind is what you would be in some incorporeal heaven state to be thinking back on your life, if that was the case. The mind is what you're in now, thinking back on what you did last week, what you did yesterday, earlier today, 3 seconds ago. The mind is therefore identified as the kingdom of heaven. Now, calling it the kingdom of heaven and thinking about all the things people think about, you're like, well, gosh, how can all these types of thoughts be in the kingdom of heaven? And that's why I think it's very useful to use the Zelda Triforce conception, that there's this kingdom of heaven that, when accessed, takes on the conditions that it's been accessed in. So if it is the world of the mind, you can take over the world of the mind. You can have a viral song or a statement or something. You can have something that captures everyone's imagination. And you've taken over a significant portion of the world of the mind. And what do you do with it? Some people use that type of attention and power to do terrible things. Like, when Ganon accesses the Triforce and turns the world into the dark world and everything's bad. Well, then you have to, as a good person, access the Triforce again and turn everything good. So this Triforce conception of heaven as the kingdom of heaven that's available, if you seek it out, if you follow the clues, if you access it, that the kingdom of heaven is available all the time. And it's what we do with it here and now in our lives that has a great power. And hopefully, there's a heaven after you die. Things you can do there can be helpful too. And I feel like people have lots of evidence of that, of ghosts and angels and such influencing their lives, helping them out. People are often referencing this phenomenon. But it's almost like, we're embarrassed to talk about this kind of stuff. And I think we get over that embarrassment if we just start and if we just address some of these ideas. Like, what if you don't come back as your own grandkids, but you come back as somebody else? And maybe that's a good reason to look out for everybody on the planet to make sure that in the future, as we hopefully progress infinitely into the future in life, as we move our life infinitely into the future, then we will be building on these lives and good decisions we've made in these, in individual lives. And that this is the reason for doing all the good you can for everybody, not just for yourself, so that everybody's situation is improved into the future. So I just wanted to include the idea that the kingdom of heaven, that heaven is already here, that you're already participating in it, and it's kind of like what we can do with it to make it the best. And it does seem to me to correspond well with the world of the mind, that is unbound by the things in the mind, the thoughts that can return and be reminded to people, come back, are reincarnated in ways faster and over longer periods of time. That these ideas have a life of their own. And I think this is where you get into talking about angels and things, archetypes and angels, that participating in this eternal life is something we can always do. If you write a book and you're channeling this eternal life type of energy, your book's going to be around forever. Everyone's going to always read it because it's, or a great song, or all sorts of inspiration. You can hear the Spirit in people's inspiration. And, you can say it's the same Spirit. It comes through infinitely different people, but you can hear that quality of greater Spirit in inspired things. And so I guess my point is that the kingdom of heaven is that inspiration, is the inner life slash the life that's swirling around all of us, this world of the mind that we can improve, that we can get more out of and put more into. And so I just wanted to encourage everyone to live a heavenly life and be heavenly without shame, because it's about life. It's not really about after death. And that's where I think the refocus of saying the kingdom of heaven is at hand, and don't look over there or over here, look within, look at what we have. So thanks for watching, and please leave any comments and ideas in the comments, and hope you have a great day.